Let me start with a simple question. Why is what Bonnie Blue is doing wrong? For those who don't know, Bonnie Blue is a woman who claims to have had sex with more than 1,000 men in a single day. And she's doing it publicly, online, as spectacle. Now let's be honest. Most people, men and women alike, find this viscerally disgusting. Not a bit odd, not unusual, but repulsive, degrading, and profoundly disturbing. And yet most of us would struggle to explain exactly why it's wrong in a way that holds up publicly. We'd struggle even more to justify why a society should prevent or discourage this kind of behaviour. And that inability tells us something deeply unsettling about where Western society now finds itself. It also highlights a strange contradiction. On the one hand, almost everyone knows, at a gut level, that what Bonnie Blue is doing is not healthy, not dignified, and not something a sane society should normalize. On the other hand, when asked to justify that reaction, we freeze. Because the moment we try to articulate why it's wrong, we immediately run into the dominant moral framework of the modern West, liberalism. And under that framework, the standard response is always the same. She's an adult. It's consensual. It's legal. She's not harming anyone. End of discussion. Except that for most of us, it certainly doesn't feel like it should be the end of the discussion. And the issue is this. At its core, modern liberalism is built on a very narrow moral claim that individuals should be free to do whatever they want, as long as it's legal and doesn't violate the rights of others. That's it. No appeal to virtue, no appeal to dignity, no appeal to what kind of people or society we are becoming. And once you accept that framework, you're essentially unable to criticize the actions of someone like Bonnie Blue because you have no moral vocabulary to justify and explain why her behavior is degrading, corrosive, and socially destructive. You can say you don't like it. You can say it's not for you. But you cannot say it's wrong, at least not in a way that carries authority. This is why public condemnation collapses into awkward silence or embarrassed moral relativism. How did we get here? My answer is that we got here by cutting ourselves off from traditional moral frameworks, frameworks that emerged over thousands of years based on human nature, human experience, and hard earned social wisdom. In the West, that moral tradition was deeply shaped by Christianity, not as superstition, but as a system that placed limits on desire, elevated restraint, and recognized that not everything humans want to do should be done. Today, that tradition is widely dismissed as outdated, oppressive, patriarchal, or simply irrelevant. And once it's gone, all that remains is procedural legality and individual preference, which means that if something feels wrong but is legal, consensual, and self chosen, it is unable to be effectively criticized, let alone prevented or prohibited. Bonnie Blue isn't an anomaly, she's a symptom. The same logic appears in debates over things like drag queen story time, where adult sexual aesthetics are deliberately introduced into spaces for children. Again, many people experience a deep instinctive aversion to this, not out of hatred, not out of ignorance, but out of a sense that some boundaries should not be crossed. And once again, liberalism responds. It's legal. It's voluntary. If you don't like it, don't attend. What we've lost is the ability to say, some behaviours degrade the human person, some acts corrode social trust, some freedoms destroy the conditions that make freedom possible, and some things must be morally taboo, even if they are technically legal. A healthy society doesn't rely solely on laws. It relies on norms, shame, standards, and shared moral assumptions. As long as Western societies remain, divorced from traditional moral foundations and trapped inside a thin procedural liberalism, we will continue to experience this bizarre paralysis, knowing that something is deeply wrong, but being unable to say so out loud. And worse, we will be unable to rebuild a society where certain behaviours simply don't occur, not because they're illegal, but because they are unthinkable. That, not outrage, not prudishness, is the real crisis. If you found this uncomfortable, good. That discomfort is the point, because it means your moral instincts are still alive, even if you've been stripped of the framework and language needed to condemn immoral behaviour. Please let me know what you think of the ideas discussed in this video, and if you'd like to jointly explore more of these sorts of topics and see channels like this grow, please share and subscribe.